Hi, how y'all doing? This is Joanna here with another Thursday video. Auto-utilize that guy. I don't know where he should go. I think that's the first baseman catcher that doesn't really hit, so he's going to put him wherever he can go. Hopefully they didn't bring down the left-handed hitting left fielder first baseman guy we got. Other than that, I don't think they did, because that would not really, I don't know if that would make much sense, but then again, this is a computer and I'm going through this, simmering it all. Other than that, I don't really know. It's like one of those things, you'd be like, ooh. The good thing is, I actually unlocked some unis for the Mets, the Amazons, And okay, so we don't have a guy that's can't hit up at the major league level. That's always nice too, to be honest with you. You hate that when you go and they do dumb things, and then all of a sudden you're like, what the hell? Okay, he's still at the major league level, but he's on the bench, which I could live with. And this guy's on the team. I don't know. It's okay, so he's gonna go into the catching spot, not because he's a good catcher, more because I don't really like the other guy. It's like, damn. So yeah, it's like one of those things. I like Piazza, but I don't like, a guy that can't hit pitching, batting him, I'd rather bat someone, that at least has a better contact, you know what I mean? He's not a good player. I don't think he's that good, but right? It's like David Wright goes cleanup. Who should? I like this guy. I like Mike Cameron. I think it's Mike Cameron. Probably, yeah. I like the idea of batting him. He's usually dead last in the order because he's not, particularly gifted with the bat. So that's kind of nice to just admit that and put him in the bottom, Okay, so who should go up top, Yeah, one of the things I did do in this with the Mets here is I traded. This is gonna sound weird because he's not really thought of as a New York Met or whatever. Andres Galarraga, he was on the Mets in their farm system, so I traded him for Chase Utley. I'm like, yep, that's a thing, apparently. It was because I was thinking to myself, who should I try to get? It wasn't a bad deal by any stretch because it was Chase Utley, decent player. I mean, really good player, to be honest with you, not gonna lie, And it was one of those things, this game is really coming out before Chase Utley was really at his peak, right? But to be honest with you, it was still a decent trade, it was still worth it. It was still that yes, you trade him not because of talent, which is irregardless of what he was, good player, but you trade him more because of you're trading a 43-year-old guy for, a 20-something guy. It's just that's you just do that. It don't matter really who it is usually. So yeah. This guy is terrible. I don't know why he's not really doing so hot this year, I guess. I don't know. It's one of those things. I'm like, who do I bench? Because I don't want to really take him out, but it really don't matter to me, It's one of those things of this guy, none of these guys are really that good. I mean, this is a team that's kind of just there, it's weird, because a team could be competing, rebuilding, or just there. The Mets at this point were just there. No disrespect. I actually do like most of the players on the team, even Beltran, despite all the things that have happened. Even Mike Piazza, who was a really good player. it wasn't like this team was made of scrubs. It's just one of those things where, you know, yeah, it's like a weird team. Because you look at this team like Beltran, Wright, guys that are Reyes, guys that are technically younger but still on the cusp. It's oof. I don't know. Should I really put Matsui as a DH? I don't really care, but yeah, I should just do that, right? Just go with it. This is actually not the Death Star lineup, but kind of a good lineup still. And we're kind of at 500, so who cares? You know what I mean? I'll play. Yeah, I was like worrying if I could take out the bust out the new unis I unlocked. Home, road, alternate road, 1986 home, 1983 alternate. I gotta get that one. I'm not really a Mets fan, but I do like the classic unis like these. These are pretty cool. Yeah, this is the ballpark I created. I wish they would let me actually really create a ballpark, because that would be nice. But other than that, it's still kind of nice to have your own ballpark, Yeah, I actually won a game after I played as the Indians. Kind of got killed with the Indians. It was 6-2, I think, and when I lost the last recording. But one of the things I did do is I was like, yo, let me go to the next game because it wasn't that bad. That's actually pretty. There's worse ways to lose, Like 6-2 is not that bad. The Mets unis look pretty decent, I guess. It's not obviously like MLB The Show where it's like, yeah, that's just a whole nother level of good. It's also like a graphics thing more than a design thing. I could say that for sure. Yeah. So I'm just chilling, just making a Thursday video, I guess, It's like one of those things. I was like, yeah, whew. Pedro's on the mound, which is good. It's always good to pitch to the weird thing is this team has really good pitching, I guess, with Pedro and a lot of highly touted pitchers. And I say that with a certain level of weirdness because I was not a Mets fan growing up, so I know Pedro because I was a Red Sox fan, but not really knowing the Mets, I didn't know how deep they were pitching wise, So let's just yeah, this is obviously not the most up to date stadium. Whatever, I don't care. You got the Mets, we got the Marlins. Let's get it on. I was just is recording a little slower because I'm recording and I realized that slows down my GameCube a lot, I guess. Actually, not that much, to be honest with you. It's kind of good. And of course, we forgot to take off the fielding, which I should have done, but I forgot that I'd do that. Okay, so we're gonna do that now, because I don't do the fielding. I don't know why. It's just mostly because I don't like to beat around the bush. I'm terrible at fielding, and I just don't care. It's one of those things where you're if it detracts from you, it detracts from you. But who cares? It's a fucking video game. Let's see what we got here. Visual options. And I don't like the fade. I don't know why I don't, because Maybe it's because I like to know where my pitch is going at all times, and I'm not playing split screen. But yeah, who knows? Nice take there by them. In the coffee grounds of New York, I guess. New York. I can't do an accent. Like, I always kind of go into the weird stuff, be like, woo. Other than that, like, that little statement, like, the weird stuff, like, what am I talking about? Let's go, Pedro. Let's go get him to ground out there, which we kind of did. I thought it might be a line out there for a minute, but it's mostly a ground out short. Valiant made a valiant stab at that one. Right? Gotta have the jokes and the puns, right? And when you're facing a team that probably should beat you just because they have Miguel Cabrera at the height of his powers, or at the point of getting to them, whatever. I mean, that's kind of the thing I would say about the Mets of this era. What I did know about them was that they were very much the team where you went to get a paycheck, That, like, oh, we'll sign guys either at their primes, which is not the best, or we'll sign you when you're past your prime because you had a few rings on other teams. It's like, yeah. Like, and I mean that, like, in the best way, because they weren't terrible at this point. It was mostly just, like, when you look at the roster, Tom Glavine's older. You look at, some of the other players kind of older, And it's like, that's one of the things I try to avoid is, like, there's a little bit of a cutoff. If you're good, I'll sign you, but if you're over 30, it's a lot harder to justify, If you're not in your prime or before your prime, it's a lot harder to justify, Like, oof. Oh, come on, get there. Don't knock the charging cord out, This thing sucks without that. One of the things I was trying to do was, and this sounds really weird because I'm not even from, I've never been to Texas. One of the things I was trying to do was, before I decided to get these uniforms, and I only got them because they were, like, not that much XP, was, I was like, yo, let me go get the Houston Astrodome. I don't know why, but I love Dome Stadium, so, yeah, it's, like, one of those, like, very kind of weird things I have where I'm like, yeah, I love Dome Stadiums, woo! It's like, most of them were terrible. You know what I mean? So it's not like they were ever really well looked at, So, yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck, I do like these retro enemies, though. They make me smile a little bit. They kind of look frumpy, but there's a blue collar aesthetic that I like, So, the only thing I don't like is that they beat my Red Sox in '86 with these unis. That's about it. Other than that, it really don't bother me that much. That's going into right field. So we're having a pretty decent, we're not doing great. We got one out, but pretty decent number 2 guy coming up there, right? Just getting that leadoff double. Should be a double, but he's stuck at first because he's an idiot. Most of you who've actually played baseball at some level know that you hit the inside part of the bag and you go for 2. That's what I would have done if I was playing, but I'm not, so I'm not going to cry. Beltran's having a really good year. 18 home runs and 314 average. Those are pretty good numbers. I don't know much about on-base percentage, but 18 home runs is always good to me, you know, at this point, especially when that happens, when you square one up like that. It doesn't matter that it was hit right back up the middle and not just bolted out of there. Yeah, we hit the minimum, I know, that I normally subscribe to. Speaking of which, always leave a subscribe and like, that'd be nice. We're very much appreciated. Other than, like, you know, my parents. Oh, you know, they're just dicks. It's like, you know, of course they can't really be happy with me. They always got to be like negative, and then when I call them out on it and be like, "Yo, you're just negative towards me," what is a slap in the face? You know, that's just so insane to me. Like, and I bring it up because being recorded on a Monday night. Like, I usually don't do a recording on Monday for Thursday, but hey, I just wanted to explain why I'm thinking about that bullshit, you know? You know what I mean? It's not really what I normally do, but yeah. That's a foul ball. Way out. Not way out in front, but at least it wasn't out, which is always nice. You know, to be honest with you, if that was an out, I would have been like, oh, great. You know? Fuck. You know, that kind of fuck moment. The fuck's given or zero? Nice take there. I saw that one and I was like, yeah, probably not a good pitch to swing at. Yeah, I'm kind of getting the hang of this one. This game actually a little bit more than I was the first time. Oh my god. I say that when I do stupid things like that. When I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to take another strike. Talk about giving them a freebie. That one should be out of there. Nope. Just missed it. Unfortunately. I really don't matter to me, I guess, but yeah. Hit to the really just the unlucky part of the park. That's like a moment, like it just David Wright, Captain America with the Mets. Actually, one of the players I do respect that literally couldn't get it to go, you know? Cliff Floyd. Weirdly enough, I remember him in a Billy Corben documentary, Broke. It was really weird. The only other team I know him from the only other two teams I've seen him represent is the Montreal Expos and the Florida Marlins, so it's kind of weird that we're facing the Marlins here. You know? That's the end of the inning right there. Be like, yep, fuck. I hope that didn't get picked up. Oh well. Other than me getting like banned off YouTube for excessive swearing and cuteness, and that's funny because I've never recorded myself on this stuff, so y'all don't know. You don't know what I look like. Woo! Other than, you know, what you could assume, I guess. I don't know. Other than massive amounts of pure entertainment. Hey, it's better than saying anything negative, right? Be like, the more you say positive things to yourself, the more positive you're going to be. That's kind of what it is. You know? I'd rather be a Ric Flair than a Debbie Downer in a lot of ways. Or Charlotte Flair would be more accurate than a Debbie Downer. Be like, woo! And I like that, because it's like, I mean, I'm not saying like those wrestlers are perfect or anything. It's more of like, you know, there's something inspiring to that. You know, like, oh, you don't, you know, I mean, the confidence and all that. Not the excess with the confidence, you know? And it's always something I kind of look up to about Ric Flair, not the bankruptcies. No, not that. Speaking of which, I just discovered a little app that was really good to me, that really helped me out. It's called Dave. I don't know if anybody's heard of it, but it was a really sweet app because I needed some extra cash to help me out till I get to my payday, you know. And I'm not even sponsored by these fools, and I would totally vouch for them that they're pretty cool, you know. They spotted me like $75, and I'm like, oh, sweet, I'll just pay it back. I don't care, you know. Like, you know what I mean? Because like I needed the money to get me to the payday, you know. I didn't want to go back to the house that abused me, you know, the houses that don't fucking even remotely care about me. And I don't want to be a pain to my friends either, because that's not how that would work, you know. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to do that to your friends. I'd rather solve the problem. And I went to Dave, and Dave, the app, literally helped me out like a hell of a lot, you know. That's gonna drop, isn't it? Nope. Just barely gonna hang up there long enough. Makes me so happy to say that, because I'm like, I was freaking out, you know? I was totally like in that mode of just like, you know, giving up and being, not giving up totally, but you know, giving up and being like, oh crap, I'm gonna have to make good with people that don't really deserve it. Or I'm going to have to rely on a service like in our community that is just total ass. You know what I mean? That doesn't really get that. I just need money to like last me to like get some TP, get some adobo. That's it. I don't need much. I got the food bank. I'm going to get that. I got, you know, a job. I'm happy about that. The job actually makes this a lot better than, you know, running around with Dave, because to be honest with you, the only thing I didn't really appreciate about Dave was that it was trying to like get me to pay for stuff on the first, and I'm like, that's very tricky. I'd rather pay for things when I get to my job and start working on that. I'm pretty sure I could. There's two ways to go about it, right? Be like, okay, just make sure you have $80 in the account for Dave, or in the case of like, because you know I'm going to be working, so I gotta find a way to either pay Dave, which I don't mind paying him first, because that's actually one of the things I believe in. You owe someone, you pay them motherfucking back, you know. So that's one of the first things you should do. Had to learn that one the hard way with other people, but you know, like one of the first things you should do when you get that money is pay them right back. It's so weird though with that, because sometimes like people make, like, especially like, I know like this is like weird, but I'm talking about real people, not apps or banks or anything like that. Is real people act funny with that shit. Like I remember one time I was with a jerk that, you know, I was literally going to like McDonald's, but I knew I had more than enough to pay for whatever I owed him, and then, you know, just pay him, right? So I'm like, oh, dude, go to McDonald's first. I'm fucking hungry. And then he walked all the way to this. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? So it was like I wasn't trying to spend his dang money. I was trying to get eats. You know what I mean? It was like one of those, like, dude, like I would totally have gone back to the apartment, paid you, and we'd be fine. Like, that's what I hate with people, is like when they assume you're trying to do something wrong or scummy, and it's like, no, dude, I just wanted to get a burger. You know what I mean? And like, that's like one of those things where I could see why he did what he did, but I don't think that's right. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, bruh, I was coming right back to you. You just got to give me a couple minutes, you know? Because I'm stopping to eat, and that's fine with me, because I need to eat, you know? And and to be honest with you, I don't totally remember all the specifics, so I'm not trying to sound innocent here. But you know how it is, you know, bro, like, I'm just trying to eat. Like, and he got so mad at me. I was like, yeah. This is also the same person that invited me out for chicken, called me grimy, and I'm like, well, okay, thanks, you know. When he invites me out for chicken, not the other way around where I did something, like, months later he did that too, so. As this video is probably going to come to a close here. Yep. Right? Be like, yep. Well, at least it was fun making a half-hour video for Thursday. You know? I mean, to be honest with you, I kind of wanted to make this video before either Tuesday or Wednesday, knowing how things can turn out. You know, you want to make these videos a little bit in advance. Because, especially like for Thursday and Friday, where it's like, I'm going to be really working, and it's going to be a lot harder to like make a video for Friday. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday are going to be fucking weird. You know? In that way of like, yep, I got to work, I can't really be present. So, yeah, like, because when you're working, you know how it is. You don't want to do shit. You don't want to come home and like, you know, have to like, you know, make a video and then be like, oh, you know, great, yay. Especially like, because when you work where I work, where it's a lot of like heavy lifting. Well, not a lot. It's actually kind of in the middle, but a little bit of heavy lifting. You don't want to do anything. Especially when you're like trying to catch the bus. Like, the bus is the more agonizing part of my job. It's not even the job, it's the bus, you know? On that little note, I'll let you go, because I've been putting it off a little bit, you know, with little explanations and stuff, so. Yeah, thank you for watching. Please subscribe and like. See you all in the next one.